the Jazz Podcast, where we like to talk about jazz. Just kidding. Welcome to Fueled by Coffee Podcast. My name is Matt. I'm your host, and we are back again for another episode of Season 4 today. It's funny because this is the second to last episode that's going up for this season, but it is actually the last episode I'm recording. So it's funny. I wanted to kind of explain this. There's a little discrepancy. Throughout the season, I have called. So today I'm actually here with Kayla, aka ghostie.artt, aka my now wife, which that's the discrepancy because throughout the season, I recorded it at different points in the winter. So there were some episodes I recorded after we got engaged, and then there were some I recorded before that. So I was referring to you as my girlfriend and some as my fiance, but this episode you're my wife, even though I think on the next episode I said you were my fiance. So it's if there's anyone, we've been getting no listens because the algorithms, fuck social media, fuck the algorithms. I'm ready to quit the podcast because of it. Either way, but because of the algorithms, and not many people have been listening, but those who have listened, you may be confused if you're wait a second, does he have a girlfriend, does he have a fiance, what's going on here? Kayla is my wife. She's joining me again. She's been on a couple episodes last season. We talked about Subway and working at Subway and Walmart and that type of thing, and on the Christmas episode, she's been on a couple Christmas episodes. The last one we talked about Christmas movies and why snow makes a great Christmas movie. So Kayla, welcome back today.
Hello, I'm glad to be here.
But so for those who are new to the podcast or those who are returning, it's a podcast centered around drinking different types of coffee and just talking about life with my friends and my now family, I guess. This is the last episode I'll be recording before we make our move to Colorado. Spoiler alert, we got a place out there and we are moving. By the time this goes up, we'll already have moved, so yay us, I guess. We'll be out there just
living it up,
hopefully not dying, but
why would we die?
But either way, so if you're new here, check out all our other episodes. They're all on SoundCloud, and we got playlists full of stuff. Check us out on Instagram and Facebook, Fueled by Coffee Pod. We have merch you can buy through our social media accounts, so just go on and give us some support. Any little support I get anymore is appreciated. But yeah, so today, interesting episode. This is an episode over a year in the making. From the time of recording, it's about a year in the making. But at the time it's going out, which is September, it'll have been over a year in the making. I said at the end of season 3, the episode I did with Pete and Aaron last year, that we were going to do a Donut Wars episode, similar to that of the Diner Wars episode I did with Sean, where we had gone to a bunch of different diners and we ranked them up. And you and I, knowing that donuts are one of our many loves, as we are foodies, and I'm a baker, Yep. We were like, why don't we just go try? My idea is, we have some good donut places in the area. We've got there's Yum Yums, of course.
Yep.
There is
number one.
Always. There's the bakery in Easton Public Market. I think she has donuts sometimes. It's not all the time, but I think sometimes she'll do a little special donut of the day.
Apparently there's good donuts at the Q Mart, but we still haven't tried those.
Whenever I go, they're out of them because it's too late in the day. I usually go at night because I work in the morning,
Yeah.
But yeah, the secret ingredient, there's that place. We have places in the Lehigh Valley. But the thing is my thing, being a baker, I've been a retail baker for over 3 years, almost 4 years at the time of this posting. And so I've baked in 3 different grocery stores. I've seen how I've made the donuts that's my thing. I was the donut guy for a while. So donuts have a special place in my heart. Not only that, our first date was to Yum Yum Donuts. Not our first date.
That's a whole different story.
That's a whole different story, but our first date that actually went smoothly and according to plan, and that no one pooped their pants at. Spoiler alert, guys, I pooped my diaper on our first date. No, but our first date were no one got sick. We were good. We went to Yum Yum Donuts, and before that was shortly before COVID, for those who don't know, and so that became a regular thing for us. When we'd hang out, probably at least once a week, we'd be yo,
yep,
let's go to Yum Yum and get breakfast and donuts.
Breakfast, coffee, and a donut.
Yeah. So, like, that's always something you and I connect on, and especially, like, with me baking and making donuts. So I was like, fuck, why don't we go try all the grocery store donuts in the area? Because, like, we shop regularly at Weiss. Apparently it's pronounced Wise. Wise Markets.
It's Weiss.
Yeah, it's Weiss.
It's Weiss.
Fuck you, Jonathan Wise. It's Weiss. It's okay, I don't work there anymore. But either way, yeah, so that's what this episode's about. This is our Donut Wars episode. Didn't go according to plan. We had a list of about eight grocery stores we were going to go to, and we probably only got from like 4.
Yeah, 4,
right.
5 maybe.
So I'm going to pull my list up. We're not going to jump in right away, but I just got to get this pulled up real quick. And then, there's a couple other things we could talk about here too. This isn't a very structured episode. For those listening, I'm normally more structured and like with outlines, but we're just kind of winging this today. Oh, also, I almost forgot the coffee of the day. So today,
almost,
it is at the time of this recording, the middle of the summer, and what better way to hop into the month of July than with the Wawa holiday blend. A little Christmas in July action. And normally I'd be drinking either out of my Wawa travel mug or my very nice Bones Coffee Company Mint Invaders mug. I'm actually drinking out of a mug that I got for Christmas from my nephew. It is a PlayStation mug. It's got a little PlayStation controller for the handle, and it's got the PlayStation logo and the 4 buttons on it. It's pretty neat. It's a neat little mug. So yeah, just switching it up today. Cheers, Wawa. We miss you. And Kayla's drinking a milkshake.
Okay. I'm drinking, it's sold in pretty much every grocery. I'm explaining my coffee.
I know, Kayla, you love when people slurp their coffee.
I hate it.
Okay, continue. Explain to the people what you're drinking.
It's sold at every...
3 people that actually listen to my podcast anymore.
It's sold at pretty much every grocery store in that, like, carton. Like, it's, International Delight?
Yes.
Like, iced coffee. And there's usually, like, 3 flavors. But I always get the caramel macchiato.
Yeah.
At one point in my life, I pretty much lived on it. And you just pour it over ice. And it's really good. Well,
maybe for an amateur, but... We like
it's good because it's like $4 for a thing, and
it's a lot cheaper than buying a $13 bag of
pizza. I mean, is it a lot of coffee? I don't know, but it is very simple ingredients. Like, it's just coffee, cane sugar, whatever. It's simple ingredients, so there's not a lot of additives.
That's a big thing I think you've got me on. Like, I try and eat. I mean, me, I love my desserts because I'm a baker. It's hard, especially like working in a bakery. I'm always coming home with stuff.
Yep.
And we can talk about this more later in the episode because we'll have time for sure. But,
yeah.
It's hard. Some days, like, I'll be on a really good, like, I've been eating just, like, my oatmeal and dinner and, I'm keeping it to the bare minimums. And then I'll hit those strides in the week where I'm like, ooh, the muffins smell really good in the oven today. And then I'll be putting them out and I'll be like, you know what it was earlier this week? It was the cinnamon chip muffins.
Oh.
Which I was like... Oh, these smell like Cinnamon Toast Crunch. And, like, they have the crunchy sugar on top. The sanding sugar. And I was like, oh, man. I was like, I gotta bring one of those Johns home. Or, like, sometimes it's the Double Dutch muffins. Those smell really good. Or just, or I'll make the donuts. And I'm like, oh, man. So I'm always bringing stuff home. But, like, one thing that you've really... Because I outside of that, my point is outside of, like, working in a bakery and it being difficult, I have an uncontrolled love for desserts.
Yeah.
It's just, like... I do try and eat well throughout the week. And one thing that you've really opened my eyes to is, like, looking at some of the ingredients on stuff. Because, like, I used to do it at Peapod. Like, Mike and I, we would go through the frozen aisle and look at, like, the frozen dinners and stuff. And, like...
Oh, there's so much stuff added.
Holy shit. They're so bad.
It's so long. Such a long list.
That's what she said. It's so long.
Well, nothing's wrong with, like, eating stuff that isn't as great for you. but
like when you look at, if you can't
every day, that stuff will catch up to you.
My thing is, like, if you can't pronounce half the ingredients, it's probably really bad for you.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like I even hate, like, you know, there's some things where there was something I made at work the other day. Maybe it was the Spanish bread I brought home, the sweet bread. And like, it has very simple ingredients in it. But then I saw, like, there's like a couple of those like products that they put in the factory, I'm assuming for like preservative purposes, or because you know, like when you make just normal bread, because your grandfather's a baker, it's just like flour, yeast, water, you know, like some little odds and ends here and there. Like when I would make it at Wegmans, it was like the basic ingredients, and then, you know, we'd throw other shit in like cranberries and whatever. But the thing is like when you look at some of these breads and you're like, why does it need xanthan gum in it? Or why does it need like there's like those weird things like polytryptophan 3, and you're like, what the fuck is that doing for the bread? You know, like it's just unnecessary stuff.
It probably just is for shelf life reasons.
Yeah, and it's frozen too, which
instead of
sucks.
it lasting 7 days, it might last.
We had
13 days.
Oh shit! At Wegmans, we had these caramelized onions that came in a bag. I had to put them on the onion focaccia bread.
Bag, like room temp.
It was in,
like what?
So we kept it in the cooler, but it could sit at room temp. It was one of those things where like when you opened it, it needed to be refrigerated, but we just kept them all in the cooler because that's like where they fit. You know, that's where we had space. And I think my manager told me that unopened, those had a shelf life. Like once we opened it, I think it had like a week.
Yeah.
No, maybe not a week. Maybe it was like 2 weeks or something like that. Which is even, I mean, like it's in their fridge and it's just onions, but I think unopened they had like a 400-day shelf life or something.
What?
It was something
caramelized
crazy.
Onions.
It was something just like disgusting. It was like months and months long, and I was like, that is repulsive. Like that is absolutely disgusting.
That is gross.
But either way, yeah. So
that's crazy.
The grocery store life. Maybe we'll get back to that later. But yeah, so this idea kind of, I think I stemmed this idea. Kayla and I are regular shoppers at Weiss Markets. Before we moved, I worked for them for like 7 months, and it was pretty good. Like I didn't mind working there. I got along with the people I worked with. Yeah, I mean, it's your typical job. You have shitty days, you have good days. You know, you have busy days, slow days, and yeah, like people go through their moods. But like I would say generally, like my manager, she didn't ignore me like my dickhead manager at Giant did, or like, you know, like I generally got along with people there. So like shout out to Weiss. You know, I mean, as a corporation, I think there's some weird shit going on with them, but like the one I worked at, Weiss 386, represent Shanersville Road, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Go shop there. Tell them Matt said what's up to the 2 people that are listening to this. But yeah, no, we're regular shoppers at Weiss. Not that one, but like there's one in Easton, Pennsylvania on William Penn Highway. I started going there before I even met Kayla, with my friend John. Shout out to John. He's not listening, but shout out to John. This is just becoming a huge like bummer of a podcast. I love it. But either way, yeah, so like Kayla and I shop there pretty much, I would say like once a week usually. Yeah. And I'm always like passing the donut case and I'm like, damn, yo, I gotta buy a donut.
Every time. And
there's just, oh man, their donuts are just so soft. And the icing, like they use the ready ice.
You're already giving away your thoughts?
I'm just explaining. And you know, like it's just such a good, it's like for a grocery store, it's a good donut. Because the ones I had at Giant, they were fried in dirty fucking oil. And we'll get into this more then, but just like as a comparison to the other stores I've worked at, I would say Weiss was superior. And I would think about this. This is the weird stuff I think about, you know, throughout the week. And I was like, you know, I did the Diner Wars episode with Sean, so why don't we do like a donut comparison? So I pitched the idea to Kayla. She's like, yeah, let's do it. And we made a list of grocery stores. I just spilled coffee on myself. So it was originally a list of, I don't know if I have all of them on here.
Oh no, I forgot about the one place.
Okay, so this was our list. It was Giant, Weiss, Wegmans, Fresh Market, which Fresh Market, I think they're only like East Coast, I want to say. I don't know if there's any, or no, you know what, there's one in the South. My cousin just went to one in Georgia. So
yeah,
I think they're like East Coast, and like Mid-Atlantic. So Fresh Market, Walmart, Redner's, ShopRite, I forgot about ShopRite, Whole Foods, and Lidl, how do we pronounce it? Is it Lidl?
Lidl.
It's kind of like an Aldi's.
Yeah,
for those who are,
it's pretty much Aldi's.
It's pretty much like an Aldi's.
Same company, I think.
The one we went to is right across the street from Aldi's, because people rave about the Lidl bakery. They're like, oh, their croissants are they're to die for. So we were like, all right, let's go see if they have donuts. And they did, but it was just like a jelly filled, and we were trying to keep it consistent across the board. We were just looking for a chocolate ring with sprinkles on it. That's I think the classic American donut.
Classic ring donut with sprinkle with chocolate icing and sprinkles.
'Cause, like,
it's not a cake.
Because I'm not necessarily a filled donut person. Like Yum Yum's has a really good. It's called Chocolate Thunder. It's got chocolate cream on the inside. That I like. But like, I'm not a huge like jelly donut, or like I hate custard. Like I prefer my donuts to not have any filling in them. And plus that it gets weird then too if you're having a filled donut, because different places use different fillings, and as we'll discuss, different stores use different icings as well. So we actually didn't get to go to all these places.
No.
So here's the thing. So Fresh Market, let's start with them. They're disqualified. We went in there. So Fresh Market's more of an upscale grocery store, I would say.
Very nice.
Nice. The prices are higher, but the quality of their products is better, I would say.
Yeah.
It's like a higher end, I would say comparable to a Wegmans. It's like a smaller Wegmans.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we went in, and they have like a dessert case that you would find like donuts in. I don't know how grocery stores across the country are. I mean, we saw the one was it King Poopers in Colorado. They had a donut case, but I don't know if every store has one. So like where we're from, if there's anyone listening to this in a different part of the country, our donuts are just like, it's in like a glass case with doors on it. You open them up, take your donut out, you know, whatever. So like they have a dessert case like that, but it was just kind of like, it looked like croissants and Danish and maybe some muffins.
Yeah.
So the lady at the counter was like, "Oh, like what are you guys looking for?" And I said, "Well, do you have any donuts?" And she just was kind of like looking at me, and she was like, "No, I don't know why we don't really ever have donuts." And I was like, "Okay." I was like, "Whatever, bet." So you're disqualified.
She was very confused though as to like, she's probably never gotten that question before. Like,
you're a grocery store. Like, don't people go in like on a Sunday or a Saturday, like looking for donuts? That's like a huge thing anywhere I've worked, is like weekend donuts.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like all those rich people over in Center Valley. Come on, man. Upper Saucon. What the hell?
Every Friday.
Or is that Lower Saucon?
I don't know.
Whatever area it is. But yeah, so either way, so Fresh Market's disqualified. Lidl, as I said, they had jelly filled powdered. We didn't get them just because it didn't meet our criteria, our standards for this episode.
Yeah, that place was weird.
I thought it was kind of interesting.
Yeah, there was a weird smell when I walked in. Well, I think it was like there was something that the cases were weird. They were like open holes of
that is weird.
It was, I don't know. So it was that's what I mean when I say it was weird.
I'm glad you brought that up because I kind of forgot about that. Yeah, so like a normal grocery store bakery where we're from, the donut case is just, or like a self-service case is just glass doors with handles on them. You pull it open, the trays are in there. It was almost like little plastic cubes. They were like transparent plastic cubes with like a hole, and it was just open. There was no flap. There was no door. The air was just hitting this stuff all day, and that's the thing, because we went like later in the afternoon, and I was like, this stuff's probably stale. Like it's been sitting here since God knows what time, you know?
I thought that was weird.
So Lidl did not have donuts, so they are cut out. Whole Foods, we didn't even bother going to because as time ran on, you know, we had our move coming up, and like things were just busy, and I was like, the only Whole Foods is like all the way out in Allentown, and I did not feel like driving out there. That's like, I was like, because the thing is like when we saw how Fresh Market was, and I would compare Fresh Market and Whole Foods are probably pretty similar.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, Fresh Market didn't have donuts. And like looking on Google at like the photos of the bakery and for Whole Foods, like I saw a lot of like croissants and Danish and other desserts and like rolls and stuff, but like I didn't see anything that pertained to donuts, and I didn't want to take the ride out there and then be like, well, they didn't have donuts, so like that was a waste, you know?
Yeah.
So Whole Foods were just we'll just cut them off the list. I won't say they're disqualified because we didn't really give them a chance, but it just didn't, it didn't work out. And then we have the big one that we were chasing for months that we just could not find. We could not find. We found everything but the donuts we were looking for. We got Wally World, Walmart.
Yeah, we looked at quite a few different Walmarts too.
We looked at the one in Emmaus, or not? Well, the one that's like near Emmaus, Macungie, Allentown, whatever you want to call that. We looked in Quakertown. We looked in Easton. We hit many different Walmarts, and they either had white ice donuts, or all they had were their filled donuts, which I'll get into in a little bit.
Yeah.
Or just the cinnamon, the coffee roll, but they didn't have chocolate rings. I was even willing to be all right, if it doesn't have sprinkles, whatever, as long as we find a chocolate ring. But here's the other thing that's a little sus about Walmart donuts. My dad loves them. He buys them all the time. It's just disgusting.
Fluff-filled bars.
Yeah, so anyone out there who knows a little bit about donuts, or who's gone and bought donuts, you know the ones that are filled with the white cream. Weiss calls it angel cream. I think that's stupid. It's buttercream. We're gonna let the secret out of the bag now. It's white buttercream, the same stuff they put on birthday cakes.
What a secret.
Yeah,
it's disgusting. No wonder I don't like it.
Yeah, well, I
hate buttercream.
I prefer that over Bavarian cream. I hate
Bavarian. I like Bavarian cream because it's not as sweet.
See, but Bavarian cream is like pudding, and pudding is fucking gross.
Pudding is good.
Maybe it's because you're 80 years old.
I am 80 years old. I like pudding.
The other secret's out of the bag. I'm dating a cougar. Or I'm married to a cougar.
I also enjoy rice pudding and lime jello.
Oh, God. And party cheese salad.
Oh, no, I don't like that.
For those listening, go on YouTube and look up Cooking with Jack Show.
Oh, no.
Party cheese salad. You won't regret it. But anyways, yeah, so they have their cream-filled donuts and they call them on the label, it's called a fluff-filled bar, which just doesn't even sound appetizing.
It just sounds stupid.
But my dad, well, yeah, because it's like a long john. It's not like a normal shell donut. It's like a long john. My dad fucking loves these things. He would go to the store every week and bring them home. And
nobody wants them.
And he would eat 2, maybe 3. And they would just sit there and get stale. Fun fact: the one time I actually took I took a carrot, a baby carrot, dipped it in ranch dressing, and stuffed it in the hole of the donut. And then apparently he went to eat it later, and he had a nice little carrot surprise in his donut. But either way, yes, fluff-filled bars. And the one time he had brought them home, and I was like, man, I really want something sweet, but I don't want to drive out, and it was the only thing there, and I was like, all right, I guess we're diving in head first. And it was fucking horrible. It was the buttercream was watery, it was soupy, there was puddles of pockets of water in it, and
that's
the thing is so the way I've sent Kayla videos of me filling donuts before, and it's in a hopper. It's this plastic thing, and it goes on a machine, and when you press the button, there's these gears that turn, and it churns the filling out into the donut. And so buttercream is a thicker icing, and so sometimes you have to add a little bit of water just to make it smooth. This is the thing, and not a lot of people get this right. I've worked with people who make it fucking soup, and there's a puddle in the hopper, but you want it to be creamy, like peanut butter or mayonnaise, that smooth consistency, not just that thick, rough buttercream. You want it to be smooth. And these things, whoever made these, I don't know if it was I don't know how Walmart does their donuts, if it's they come in pre-filled, because places get donuts like that, or if they fill it themselves. Whoever made that buttercream filling just absolutely screwed it up. But it was just, oh God, it was awful. But yeah, so Walmart, the thing that's sus about them, the donuts are 40 cents a donut, I think, or 50.
That's sus.
I think to get 2 donuts, it's $1. Don't trust that. I'm sorry.
No.
It's one thing if you're going to a store and it's 75 cents, $1. Okay, that's normal for a Pennsylvania grocery store, but 2 donuts for $1.
Yeah, I wouldn't trust that.
That's some pretty gross stuff. But either way, so Walmart, we just could not. It just didn't work out.
No.
All right, so the places we did get to go to include Giant, Weiss, Wegmans, 3 of my former employers, ShopRite, which I forgot that we...
I forgot all about ShopRite.
I forgot all about it, but that's a really nice store. Can I just say
I like ShopRite.
That's a great looking... It's comparable to Wegmans. Yeah. I would say, I don't know if they're like on par with Wegmans, but it's a big store.
Yeah.
Very busy. Nice store. And then, so we went to Giant, Weiss, Wegmans, ShopRite, and Redner's. Which one do you want to start with? Should we start with good old Giant?
Well, why don't we go down? Isn't it in order?
So I didn't rank mine. I'm thinking let's just discuss them.
I didn't rank mine either.
Okay.
But I know which one was my favorite and what was my least favorite. So that's probably what we can do.
That's how I feel too.
Favorite and least favorite.
All right. So we started with Giant, correct?
Yeah.
All right. Good old Giant food stores, Martin's. The years I spent there. So we got it from the Giant in Hellertown, and this was a thing like with Giant and Weiss. And even with Wegmans, actually, we got them at stores I didn't work at because I didn't want to be biased towards like the person who made them, and if I knew them or like if it was whatever. Yeah. We were like, let's go to a completely neutral site to get these donuts.
Yeah.
So we got it at the Giant in Hellertown that I grew up going to. So chocolate ring with sprinkles. My notes, I thought it was a little stale.
Okay.
It wasn't that soft. Like, that's the thing, is like you can tell when a donut's been sitting in the case, especially me who's like, I handle them every day, so I know like. Oh,
and we should also probably mention we ate the same exact donut. We split it in half.
Yes. Okay.
So
that's actually
it's the same donut, everything. We just split it in half.
Yeah, we didn't buy like 2 of the same. Like we just cut it in half.
So we literally ate the same thing.
Yeah, so it's not good call there. That's a discrepancy.
Because every donut varies, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another important
thing. Good mention.
Yes.
I thought it was a little stale because it wasn't very soft, and like of course, as a donut sits out. See, here's my thing: a donut should be good if it's just sitting in the case that whole day that the store's open.
Yeah.
Now the next day, like you pull it from the case and you either throw it out or you do like Weiss does, like these day old 6 counts of donuts. Like that's okay if it's a little hard or like a little stale. It's been sitting out for 24 hours almost. But like this had just been out. Like we went like at like noon on a Sunday.
Yeah.
And it was like fucking stale. The icing is good. So the icing that Giant uses is the same as Weiss. It's called Ready Ice. It's like a fudge icing. It was just a very standard, average, basic donut, I would say. There was nothing spectacular about it that stood out, and there was nothing about it that I was like, this is fucking horrible. Like I can't even. Like it was just like I ate it and I was like, eh.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much what I have thought about it. Like I wrote that like the dough was a little dry.
Okay, so you thought that too.
I thought it was a little dry, but it didn't like taste bad. The dough itself, like the donut part, it didn't taste bad. It didn't taste like it was overly fried or bad aftertaste of the fryer, because how you get some, not even just donuts, things in general, if the fryer is not changed out, you can taste it.
Yeah.
And I also wrote that it's not too sweet, because that's a big thing about desserts for me is when things are overly sweet, I absolutely just can't stand it.
There needs to be a good balance. Like donuts should have a sweetness to them, but like it can't be too. Yeah. I can't recall any time I've had a donut per se that was just like way too sweet, but like any type of dessert though, for sure. But I'm glad you brought up the fryer, because that's so like Giant fries their donuts. There's very few select locations that do like a pre-fried, like, and this is me dropping knowledge on the listeners right now. Like a lot of grocery stores, if they don't fry their donuts, chances are they get it it's pre-made. They stick it in the oven for like 3 minutes or 5 minutes, and then they glaze them and do whatever they got to do to them. Giant, the dough comes in raw and it's frozen, and you let it like set and thaw overnight, and then you proof it, which is basically just sticking the dough in a big humidifier. That's how it grows. It puffs up a little bit. It activates the yeast, and then you fry them. And that's one of my beefs with Giant donuts is like they're inconsistent, because not only do you have the person who's making them proofing them differently than, say, other employees that might bake there. The fryer may be different. It's shitty. I know the store I was at. I was there for 2.5 years, and the fryer oil got changed twice.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but that is just
no one showed me how to do
wrong.
it. No one showed me how to do it either, and that's the thing. Like,
that's just
no one was even
wrong.
like, "Hey, like, we're gonna show you how to do this so you can do it regularly." I was just like, "Oh, okay."
Bad.
And like even when I started there February of 2019. The oil was black, and it was, and like it was that way for probably, I can't even tell you when I came in. There was one morning, I think it was right before Donut Day of 2020. So like for a full year, I was frying in this shit, and who knows if it was black before I got there? Who knows when it was changed?
Yeah, who knows?
So then, like, I remember, I think I came in right before Donut Day 2020, and it was like, I opened up the fryer, and so like the thing is when we used shortening. It was like these big blocks of white. It was like white. When that stuff gets old and it ferments, like when you turn the fryer off, it'll ferment overnight. It's like orange, right? So I'd go in and it'd just be like orange, like a block of orange grease and then when you turn the fryer on, it melts and it's liquid again.
That's kind of gross.
I came in and I opened it up and it was white, and I was like, oh, someone changed the fryer oil, and it smelled so nice. Like even frying in it, the donuts smelled great. It was great. But yeah, so that's the thing with Giant is like you don't know what the quality of their fryer oil is. Now some people can smell it. Like I know Mike that I worked with at Peapod was telling me like if like fryer oil is bad, like it's like it has a smell to it.
Yeah.
If it's old.
No, I can definitely tell just from taste.
Yeah, or that too.
Like Burger King in Coopersburg, where you at? Y'all need to change your fryer oil all the time. Just saying.
But yeah, so like my other notes, and this is just more of like on the baking side, is like because of the supplier and who's preparing it, like the donuts are inconsistent. Because you see sometimes, and I like working there, I saw they would get donuts that were like, we'd have a box of donuts, right? And half of them would proof and the other half would just stay like small and flat, and I would fry them up, and like half of them would look like shit and the other half would be like nice and puffy and like good looking. So like they're just inconsistent in quality and size because of who's making it and the supplier. And then I also had notes on the presentation.
See, I started taking notes. I didn't do one for Giant because like I started adding more as we like went along with it.
I just noted that the donut case was unorganized. It's a standard Giant setup. It's like a black case with the trays in it, and they have like little, on like the shelves, they have like labels of what the donuts are and how many calories, but they were like all labeled wrong. Like there were like glazed donuts, and then the label was like cream filled donut, and I was like, that's obviously not what that is.
Oh.
So like it was unorganized, and it was just a standard.
I like the chocolate icing on the Giant ones. I thought it was fine. It was nice and smooth. There wasn't really any graininess to it, which I hate.
That's the
when
one.
There's graininess.
That's the one thing that I love about Giant's icing. And like I said, they use the same icing as Weiss.
Yeah,
so
it's
like,
good.
It's good stuff. Good. Brill makes it. Shout out to Brill. Not that they're listening, but
Brill.
All right, so Wegmans. I worked at Wegmans briefly. It looks a lot more bougie than it is.
Yeah.
But we're sticking with donuts. I'm not talking about bread right now. So these are your pre-fried donuts. They come in already made, and you just basically have to set them in the cooler overnight. You pull them out, stick them in the oven for a few minutes to warm them up, and then you can put your sugar and your glaze and your icing and whatever you want on them.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're just baked in the store. I know when I worked there, someone said they use a different icing. I know that someone had said a few years ago Wegmans was changing certain things in the bakery to try and like make things a little healthier. And so they said the icing was supposed to be like a healthier icing.
Yes.
So I was expecting just like really bland, like awful but I didn't think it was that bad. Like I thought the icing was it had a pretty nice chocolate taste to it.
Yeah.
And it was much fresher than Giant. It was a nice soft, like, even though, again, I think we went like around the same time. It was like mid-morning, early afternoon.
Yeah.
They're smaller for sure. Like, it was a small donut.
It was small, yeah.
And I thought it smelled sweeter than Giant. Like, you know, like donuts kind of have that smell sometimes. It might just be something I pick up on, but like
smelled sweeter?
Yeah, I thought it smelled sweet. Like it had like a sweet smell to it, and it had nice presentation. I like how Wegmans does their stuff like in the baskets. I think that looks cool.
Yeah.
But I thought it had a nice taste to it. The icing was pretty good. What did you think?
Let's see. I have that. The chocolate was definitely more rich. Taste. I've wrote down that it was more rich than Giant's icing. I was comparing it to Giant because that was the only other one we went to at the time.
Yeah.
I thought the icing was, you could tell it was different. The dough nut itself was very chewy, which it's fine. Like, that's fine. And it was soft. It was soft. But I also thought the dough could have been a little bit sweeter.
Interesting.
And that's just going into like...
So you thought it was like
probably,
a little more...
It might have to do with the icing not being as sweet. So maybe I thought the donut like just wasn't a little sweet enough. But that's just really nitpicking into like little things.
Well, I just nitpicked about 1,000 things with Giant, but it's just...
Yeah.
I did say at least, so like with it being a smaller donut, at least they're all consistent with each other.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing.
I also wrote down that it was a small donut, but it also could have had more icing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Didn't we go on Valentine's Day?
Yeah, I wrote sprinkle colors were cute, Valentine's Day themed. It was like red and pink. It was really cute donut. Like it was really the sprinkles, because who wants like a donut with like
just
like yellow and blue sprinkles?
I've done that before.
I'm sorry, I don't like those colors together.
No, I get what you're saying though. It's an aesthetic. It's a presentation thing.
Yeah,
it's a presentation thing.
It was nice. Like it was a good donut. I liked it.
Yeah, and like I said, like it's nice. Like one of my big things is just inconsistency. Like it's one thing if you're making the dough yourself, and you know you get one out of the batch where you're like, well, it's the run to the litter. But like at Giant, when I've had before, half the donuts on the tray are like half the size of the other ones, and like like I hate that. Whereas at Wegmans it was very uniform. But yeah, I would agree it was an okay donut. Like if I was ever in a pinch and I was like, oh, I gotta go get a donut, and there's a Wegmans, I would go buy it. And it was also $1. I think that's the other key thing. I think at Giant,
we didn't really look at prices too much.
I know at Weiss. So I think Giant, they used to be 69 cents. With inflation, I'm sure they're probably $1 now. Wegmans, they're $1, I think, or it might have been like $1.20 or something, which is a lot for that little donut.
Yeah,
and then,
but it's Wegmans.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm gonna spend that on a donut, I'd rather go to Yum Yums and get something that's like freshly made.
Yeah.
But this is about the grocery store. But either way, yeah. And then I think Weiss, they're $1 too.
Yeah. We did Weiss next.
Okay, so let's move on. So let's say, would you say Wegmans over Giant?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I would agree with that.
Yep.
All right, so let's move on to Weiss. As I said, we shop there regularly, all the time. And we did get from the William Penn Highway store. I don't work there, but we shop there, and we just decided to do it. Same icing as Giant, which I've said already that I really like. It's a fudge icing, really good, nice flavor. It's like you said, it's got a good chocolate flavor.
Yeah.
You know, and I find it interesting that you thought the Wegmans icing was like rich. Like, what about it do you think?
I don't know. I don't know if it had. I don't know. It just had like this taste to it that was just more rich. No, it wasn't heavy. Too heavy. Like rich doesn't necessarily mean heavy. It just means like a rich chocolate flavor.
Interesting.
Like, you know, when you eat a typical chocolate cake, it's like, okay. But then when you eat like a decadent gourmet chocolate cake, it's like, okay, that was rich. Like, you could only eat so much of it.
Yeah, okay.
You know, that's kind of what I mean by
Gotcha. But yeah, as always, Weiss, same icing as Giant, really good. We've talked about it already. I said it was a good size. Weiss's donuts are like it's like a larger size. It's like what I would want out of a donut.
Yeah, it's good.
Especially if I'm spending $1 on it. Very soft.
Really? You thought it was soft?
I thought it was very soft.
I thought it was a little dry.
Really?
But it was chewy also.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like something about it was a little bit on the more. It may just felt dry in my mouth. I don't know.
I don't know if. I think also while I was doing this review, I was not only thinking about the one we were eating, but I was thinking about all the other ones because I've had chocolate ice rings from Weiss many times.
You might have been.
And I was kind of going off of all of my experiences. Again, nitpicking. They're all consistent in size because they come from a factory. And I would just say it was a very safe choice. Like, again, if you have to get a donut and you're at a Weiss, as long as it's iced properly, because not everyone is good at icing donuts. There are some idiots out there working in bakeries.
I thought there could have been more icing on the donut we got.
Really?
Yeah.
I wish I had a picture of it.
Apparently. I know. Why didn't we take
We should have taken pictures.
Well, if we ever do something like this again, like Pizza Wars or something, or cheesesteak wars in Colorado or something
roast beef
weird
with queso.
Yeah, we'll take pictures so we know. Yeah. But yeah, I thought there could have been a little bit more icing on that, and that just
interesting.
Might have been me.
The one note I did make was that their donut case was fucking filthy.
Was it?
And it was smeared with icing.
Oh, no.
Which that seems to happen pretty regularly there. Well, you know what it is? So that happens at the one that I worked at. And I've asked my manager, or I've asked people I work with, how does this happen? I come in, I would go in the morning, and I would have to, wipe the fucking doors down. At Giant, that would happen once in a while. Or, I'd go out and, if the glass really needed a good cleaning, I'd spray it with glass cleaner and wipe it down really good. But every morning, just about every morning, I would go and I would have to wipe the glass because there'd be shit smeared all. And I'm you're opening the door, taking with your one hand, you're taking a donut with another hand and putting it in the box or in a bag. How are you smearing icing all over? Never question the customers. Just don't. That's one thing I learned working at Chick-fil-A. It's just... Don't question the guests. Oh, God. They're not even customers. They're guests, okay, at your store. Well, the people that shop at my store, I think, have some problems because they're just smearing icing. Well, because I think part of it is people. So we have those little tissue things that you have to grab them with. Pretty much every grocery store has those at the donut case where it's please use a tissue. Don't put your filthy fucking fingers all over the donuts. I'm sorry. This is something that gets me heated because I see people do it all the time. Really? They grab stuff with their bare hands. And it's fucking disgusting. And so people are nasty. So someone said to me not everyone uses those, and so they're touching the icing with their fingers, and then their hands are on the case, and then it just gets smeared on the glass. Apparently one guy went out, or someone I work the other baker that I worked with at Weiss was putting extra donuts in the case, and she went out and I don't know if the guy asked for more tissues or if she had to say to him or she kind of just gave him a look because he wasn't using a tissue, and she was can you please use a tissue? He said something along the lines of I'm just gonna make a mess on the glass anyways. It was something, and she just kind of looked at him what? That has nothing to do with you. Or it was some stupid shit. But yeah, that's just, so that was the one thing I remember noticing at Weiss when we tried the donut was the glass was just smeared with fucking ice. That store is I love that store, but their bakery could really use some work. It's obviously a neglected department at that store. Anything else though that you have to mention? I thought the sweetness of the donut was perfect. Like the dough itself. Yeah. Interesting. And the sprinkle colors were green, yellow, and white. Oh. Yeah, I didn't. Oh really, no, I don't remember. I didn't really favor those color choices that much. But what do we live in Green Bay? Aaron Rodgers making the donuts back there. I don't know if it was a. My knee. Trying to think about what would have been around that time. I mean, after Valentine's Day. No. Those aren't even spring colors. No, Mardi Gras. When's that? That's not even Mardi Gras colors. If there's no. If you're doing green and yellow for Mardi Gras, you got to do purple. Yeah, well, I don't know what that was about. That was just a bad choice, but whatever. They should have just
Green, yellow, and white.
God. All right, let's talk about... Do we do ShopRite next?
Yes, ShopRite was next.
Okay.
Do you want me to go first about mine?
Yeah, you can go first. You can start off with ShopRite. This was a last second... Wasn't this just like we're driving down the road and I was like, should we go to ShopRite? Let's add him to the list. Like...
Yeah. I think we were like, let's go see if there's a donut in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
Because their bakery has some nice stuff in it. Like, they've got a nice little display case of cakes and, you know.
Yeah, I thought it was nice. I thought the dough was nice and soft.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. I thought
squishy.
It was...
Yeah.
I said
soft
it was...
and squishy.
I thought it was very soft and fresh.
Yeah.
That was what I wrote down.
And the sweetness was very nice, too. And I thought the chocolate icing, there was plenty on the donut.
I said it was a little melty.
Oh, really?
I think that was the one where it was like melted all over, and I was like trying to break it in half in the car, and my hands just got shit all over.
Yeah, and we ate all these like in the car.
Yeah.
Except for one.
We'd go... Oh, God. Well, we'll get to that in a minute. Kayla's giving me a look. I can't wait.
But no, I really enjoyed the icing on a donut. We don't know what kind of icing it was. If it was the same, who knows? But it was really good, smooth icing.
Yeah,
with a good chocolate taste.
Yeah, I exact same thing. I said it had a good chocolate flavor. I mentioned that it was a little melty. Yeah, it could have just been like, and this varies from store to store. Like Weiss and Giant have these tables. Yeah, where it's like basically a double boiler, and you put a bowl, like a mixing bowl in it, and it's on top of hot water, and then you just put your icing in the bowls and it melts the icing and it keeps it like nice and melted for you all day. If the temperature's too high, the water will be too hot, and then there's like a temperature gauge underneath it. And if it's too hot, the icing will just basically be like soup. And that's when you get it where it's like all runny and it just looks like it's just like all over the place. That could have happened, but then again, like then there's places like Wegmans where the icing already comes loose in the bucket and you can just dip them straight out of the bucket. So like I don't know what they use at ShopRite, but I thought the icing tasted good. It had a good chocolate flavor. Yeah. I thought it was a very fresh donut. I wasn't really looking at like the taste of the dough other than like if it was like sweet.
Yeah, that was just me.
Other than if it was like fresh or soft, you know. That's what I was looking for.
It was really soft, I remember. It was just good dough.
Yeah, I agree. I said,
and it was a good size.
That was the one thing I think, and I literally put this in italics. I think it was pre-fried. Okay. And then baked. Just because when they're all, I feel like I looked at them and they were all kind of like exactly the same. Yeah. Chances are, if they're that close to each other in size and like appearance, it's probably like pre-fried and then they just bake it in the store for a few minutes. But then again, I don't know. I haven't like looked in their bake, because I can't tell if they have a fryer or not. Yeah. But I thought it was a good donut. I think it was like around the $1 range too. Yeah, I'd say you get what you pay for. Yeah. We probably sound like a bunch of cheap assholes.
Right $1 per donut?
Well, no, but it's just when you look at like the other options, you can go to Yum Yum and get for $1.50, you get a donut that's like made from scratch start to finish, really good quality, or you can go to like fucking Wegmans and get this tiny little baby pre-fried for $1.20. You know what I'm saying? Like when you look at it that way, it's like what would you rather have? But yeah, ShopRite was good. I thought it was all right.
Yeah, and there was also cute little pastel color sprinkles on it.
Really? I don't remember that.
Yeah.
I didn't pay attention
I wrote
to
down
the
sprinkle colors.
I didn't pay attention to the
sprinkles. As an artist to enjoy his colors.
Yeah. I should have looked at that because of the presentation.
I am one of those people that will buy something just because it looks nice. Mm-hmm. Like the packaging. I'm always mentioning packaging on stuff. And
this is true.
It's important. It's so important to, you see things with your eyes first and you like it, But, yeah. That was ShopRite.
Yeah. And then we have the last place. I've been excited about this part for months. Good old Redner's. So
that drags me in here.
Yeah, so we were I don't know if we went to Williams or we were over in Easton for some reason, and I was like, babe, we got to get a Redner's donut. Now, here's the thing. John used to work at this Redner's. And it was funny because I remember I had never been to Redner's. My dad, like, I remember growing up, my dad would be like, oh, stop at Redner's on the way home from work. I'll pick up some stuff at Redner's. And I was like, I'd never been to one before. And when John worked there, I met him there the one night before we hung out. I was like, yo, I'll come say what's up at work, and then we'll hang out. And I remember walking in there, and it was like 10 p.m. This is like way before COVID. It was 24 hours still, like, you know, back when...
The Redner's?
The Redner's was 24 hours,
What the fuck?
So I walked in there. It was like 10 p.m. He was about to get off his shift, and, like, he was just, like, dead. There was just, like, maybe 2 old people shopping. This shit, it just looks... When you walk in, it almost transports you to, like, the year 1980. Like, it just looks old.
And there is a horrible smell in that store. No, every time we've gone in there, which is only like 2 times for me, maybe 3, something smells. As soon as you walk in the door, I don't know what it is.
God. Oh, yeah. No.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's
something stinks.
It's an experience for sure. And like even I'm glad I get to mention this. They had an end cap of peanut butter. And I looked at the peanut butter, and the label on it was like all faded, and it like the Redner's brand peanut butter. It looked like the label was made in like 1985, and like it looked ancient, and it was all faded, like these muted color, like muted green. Like, oh my God, it looked horrible. But yeah, it's just one of those places you walk in and you just feel like you're like, did I just travel back 40 years? Like,
yeah,
what?
Because we looked,
and even all the decor, like the decorate, like the store, like their bulletin board, and they're like, it just looks old.
And another thing I noticed when we went in there,
self-checkouts are so old too.
In the meat section, they still had, you remember when in Giant, you remember Giant, like even just 10 years ago, maybe even longer than 10
like
years
15
ago.
Years ago.
15 years ago when you were a child, you would walk into a grocery store, and it would, along the meats, like dividing the meat, it was like that fake garnish, like that fake
grass.
Plastic grass. They still have that at the Redner's we went to.
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
So if you miss, it just randomly disappeared one day, and I just never thought anything of it.
It's just like a little thing that you're like, if you don't work at a store, you know. And it's funny when you pointed that out. I was like, oh my God,
what happened to that?
Yeah, so Redner's is just like, it's like a time machine. You walk in there and you just, you know, you're back. Reagan's the president, and, you know, yeah. But either way, so Redner's, their donuts. So it's interesting because I went there before COVID, and their donuts, their bakery department it's such a small store. Their bakery department is like shared with the deli department. Like, it's like one counter, right? So picture this, in the middle of the store, there is a counter that goes in like a full circle, and there's like a wall, there's like a room in the middle of it. The left side is the bakery, the right side is the deli, and in this room is their fryer, I'm pretty sure, and that is it. So like the donuts used to be in like a case kind of like on the bakery side, but now for whatever reason they have a donut case, and they had like bagels hanging. It was like a pegboard with like bagels hanging off the pegs. Like, it was really weird. Like in the front of the store, this glass case.
Yeah, it was like first thing when you walk in the middle of it, there was like nothing around. It wasn't against the wall. It was literally just the case in the middle of the store. Oh God, yeah, it was just, so it was the cheapest donut we had of this whole experiment. It was 85 cents. Cheap. Which, I mean, like, and again, Giant's Donuts, when I worked there before all the inflation bullshit, it was like 69 cents for a donut, 65 cents, something like that. So, like, whatever, you know, it was 3 years ago. Yeah. But, like, you know, to go to Redner's in 2022 and pay 85 cents for a donut, you should kind of know, like, and the thing is, I've eaten a Redner's donut before. I had one, my whole point of explaining the layout was I had one, like, again, 3 years ago. It was like Christmas time 2019. I remember they had like the coffee rolls, and it had chocolate icing, and it had some nice Christmassy like red and green sprinkles on it. It looked okay, and I ate it, and it was fine. That's a coffee roll. That's not a donut. Yeah, but I'm saying the icing. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Yeah. So like, and it was okay. Yeah. Like, I thought it was fine.
But yeah, so we went this time. They had no sprinkles on the donut. I did mention that.
Oh yeah, there's no sprinkles.
I docked points for that.
Very limited selection, and it was a small case. There was
a fly in the case.
Oh,
I remember that.
Love that.
Yeah, and I remember you were begging me the whole time, just like, come on, do we really? And I was like, we got to do it. We have to do this. Like, the fly like landed on a donut. You were like, don't take that one. Like,
I don't care. I eat crap off the floor all the time.
But
What's the difference?
So here's the thing, and I made note of this. As I just said, I've had a Redner's donut before, and it was okay. It was decent. This was fucking horrible. This was bad. It was bad. In all caps, bad. Bad. In all caps, bad. Okay.
It was bad.
So here's the thing. There was way too much icing.
Whoa, yeah, me too.
So there was like a half-inch thick layer of icing on this thing, and it was like, and it wasn't. So like I said, the way you make a proper donut is you dip it, and you get that nice, like perfect, like spread of the icing on it.
Just like globbed on there.
It just looked like it was smeared on or something with like a knife, which it probably was. Okay, so here's the thing. Before I met you, I knew someone who worked in the bakery at Redner's. It was someone that I met through John, and they told me that. Oh, actually, and Doug too. Doug worked at Redner's for a short period of time. Doug was telling me their donuts come in pre-filled.
Yeah.
Like it's pre-fried. So we know they're pre-fried donuts, which like whatever, we've had good ones. Pre-filled. Could you imagine a donut with Boston or Bavarian cream in it, or even the buttercream or jelly going into the oven, which is hot, and then coming out? Gross. That's disgusting.
Gross.
You're supposed
How does
to
that not melt?
You're supposed to refrigerate Bavarian cream after you open it. So like, but either way, I remember someone telling me that every day they don't have like a melting table for their icings, so they would have to scoop the icing into a bowl, put it in the microwave, and then ice their donuts with it. But these didn't even look like they were dipped. It literally just looked like they scooped the icing. And here's the other thing.
They probably didn't microwave it. They probably just like...
It didn't even... And like I said, throughout this whole episode, I've been explaining the icings, right? You got the ready ice fudge. It's melted. It's nice and melty. I don't think this was donut icing.
No.
This was not donut icing.
No.
I compared it. I thought it tasted like jarred Pillsbury icing.
I don't know.
Or like
worse than that, though.
Or like Betty Crocker, like jarred icing.
Worse than that.
See, I don't like jarred cake icings, but this reminded me of...
No, because even those cake icings don't have a weird aftertaste. Something... I don't know what we ate. I'm about to like hold them up and ask, what the hell is your chocolate?
Kayla didn't even finish it.
I had 2 bites. I wrote down, only had 2 bites. I couldn't finish it. I didn't want to finish a donut that I didn't like. I'm sorry. It was bad.
It was like a whole thing. Like we both took a bite, and I think I think I just kind of looked at you because you were chewing it really slow. You were doing those slow like, and we kind of looked at each other, and I was like, oh God. And the thing is we didn't. So here's the thing: we didn't share our thoughts throughout this whole thing.
We didn't.
We would sit there. We would sit there in the car, like looking at each other while we're like writing notes. Like, don't look at my phone. Don't look at my phone. Ha ha. What am I saying? You know. But it was one of those things we just kind of looked at each other, and I was like, oh God. I was like, oh no. Like this is fucking bad. Like this is not good. So. Yeah. Oh, so in my opinion, I think it was like some jarred. It was off. It was not donut icing. It was way too sweet. Not
typical donut icing.
Super sweet and just fucking laid on thick.
It was sweet, but it was also had a weird aftertaste, like a bitter aftertaste.
Yeah,
it was. I don't even know.
It was bad.
And the donut itself, dry. Not even.
See, I was so focused on the icing that I wasn't even... That was the other thing. Because there was so much icing on it, I couldn't even taste the donut.
No, it was just icing.
Like, it was just like I was eating poop.
But...
Just mush of poop.
Yeah, I also wrote didn't have that fried donut taste. Probably because all I could taste was icing.
Yeah.
It was bad.
Yeah, that was...
Oh, no sprinkles. We already mentioned that.
I said there... No.
Yeah.
But yeah, just...
That was obviously the worst one for both of us, I'm sure.
Yeah, that was awful.
That was the worst one for... I couldn't even finish it.
Yeah. That's bad.
Threw it away.
The thing is, with Kayla, when she can't finish something, I know it's bad. She had not a shout out. A diss to the Hellertown Diner.
Oh my God. He knows it's bad when I can't finish.
If I ever get to do a Diner Wars Part 2 on this podcast at some point, oh my God, Hellertown Diner, they were my number 4 last time. The 4 out of 7. They're gonna be like 7 out of 7 next time. But Kayla had this. It was supposed to be like a cheesesteak wrap, which you've had many places. And instead of it being like steak, cheesesteak, like chip steak meat, it was mushy, watery ground beef.
Under-seasoned ground beef.
We'll say it's unseasoned.
Yeah, it probably isn't seasoned
and I
at
remember
all.
You didn't even finish it, and I was like, that's such a fucking waste of food. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, he was like angry at me about it.
I wasn't angry, but I was like, that's a waste of food. Because we're sitting in the restaurant, and I'm like, babe, like, what the fuck? We're already having an awful meal because the service was horrible.
Oh, yeah.
The service was terrible, and like the girl took forever, and she was just very unpleasant. So like, it was just not a positive experience. And then you like didn't finish you left like half the wrap. I was like, babe, what the fuck? And then we get out to the car, and she's telling me how horrible it was, and I was like, I wish you would have told me in there, because I would have like told them I'm not paying for this shit. This is garbage.
Yeah, it was that was horrible.
But yeah, it was. So like, if Kayla doesn't finish something, it's bad. It's bad. Like,
and I have a food critique.
You are. Like, and sometimes I think you're overly critical of food, but
I eat it.
But yeah, oh my God. So now let's play this game. What was worse, the cheesesteak wrap or the Redner's donut?
The cheesesteak wrap. Okay. I would have eaten the Redner's donut over that.
What about
awful? That was just, and there was so much ground meat too.
Yeah, it was pretty full.
It was so bad.
So here's now, what if they took the Redner's donut and put it in the cheesesteak wrap?
Just awful.
Yeah. No, I don't know.
No.
But yeah, so Redner's bottom of the list. Fucking awful. Disgrace. What a disgrace.
Yeah, it was bad.
Good God. So now that we know what our least favorites are, is Redner's obviously.
Obviously Redner's.
We were gonna rank these, but I don't want to spend the time doing that right now. So why don't we pick our favorite and our least favorite? So obviously our least favorite is Redner's.
Yeah.
We'll jump over to our favorite grocery store donut.
I already have how about we guess what each other's favorite may be?
Okay. I'm gonna guess.
Just want to.
I'm gonna guess. Favorites? I'm gonna guess yours is Wegmans.
No.
Really?
Yeah, no. I actually preferred ShopRite over everything.
Interesting.
Yeah, ShopRite was my favorite.
What was it that put it over the top?
It was very soft.
Okay.
And I love the chocolate taste.
Okay.
It just comes down to that.
Very
fair. It was
fair.
good icing, and I love a good soft donut. I hate anything remotely dry or whatever.
Fair.
So, yeah, ShopRite was my favorite. I'm going to guess that your favorite was... See, it's a toss-up between Weiss and Wegmans for you. But I'm going to say Weiss because, yeah.
Call me biased. I mean...
Babe, you eat Weiss donuts
very
more
regularly.
Often than any other donut.
Yeah.
Even Yum Yums at this point,
well, I mean, Yum Yums is 25 minutes away. And
this is true.
They close at 5
I'm sure
now.
If there was a freaking Yum Yums in Hellertown, you'd be there every week.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely. But yeah, it's Weiss for me.
Yeah.
Like I said, I have had more than what we tried for the episode. Like I said, we'll be on our weekly shopping trips, and I'll just be like, "Fuck, I want a donut." Or when I'm like walking around there, sometimes by myself, and I'm like, I'll go get one. Like, why not?
Yeah.
Because I know the icing, I know how they come in. Like, I respect it as, someone who's baked in a grocery store, and the taste is always consistent. I haven't had one where I was like, that was bad, they're consistent, and I like that.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, and again, like, I love the icing, and so Weiss is my favorite. So that concludes our donut episode. Donut Wars, donuts, Lehigh Valley, I don't even know. Hope y'all enjoyed it, but hope y'all enjoyed the episode. Give it a like, share it with your friends, share it on your Facebook or your Instagram, because Facebook and Instagram hates this podcast and they just bury all of our material. Any little bit of support is appreciated at this point, because social media is really sucking the life out of every creator who's not rich and famous. But yeah, so it's been a fun episode. Kayla, thanks for coming on, and check in 2 weeks. We got the last episode of the season. It's my crossover with the boys from Elite Enigma podcast. I think I titled that one, it was like an Italian, a Greek, and a Pole walk into a bar.
A Pole?
Yeah, Polish. Alex is Polish.
I don't know they were called Poles.
Yeah, they're called Poles.
I don't like that.
I know, I thought it was weird, but I didn't.
Can I be a Pole?
Are you Polish?
Partly.
I think his dad's like off the boat Polish.
Oh.
But like, yeah, so check in 2 weeks for my crossover with Elite Enigma podcast. It's called An Italian, a Greek, and a Pole walk into a bar. It's a very just like laid back kind of comedic conversation about wrestling and life, and we had some poop stories at the end, so just about public bathrooms. So if you like that type of stuff, check in 2 weeks. Fueled by Coffee signing out. Drink it while it's hot, baby.